I think like an economist on this. I think you should pay teachers in more struggling districts. You should pay them more, not less. Yes. Right? You should pay them more. They have a harder job. It's more demanding. They have to be a support structure for young people where they might not have it in a more where they might not have to play that role in a more wealthy district. So I think that's the way to solve the problem. How we ever got in this crazy situation where real estate values support, taxes support school districts, which then mean that there's an attachment between the neighborhood you live in and the quality of the school because it determines how much money they get. It's a kind of crazy system. Maybe we should blow it up and start again. And all you have to do is deal with all the fact that people who live in high-value neighborhoods who think they moved there in order to get their kids in good schools, right?
So let me attach some sad numbers to this. Beginning teacher salary in Oakland is $38,000. Beginning teacher salary in San Francisco is $48,000. Beginning teacher salary in Mountain View, Los Altos is $60,000. That's wrong. That's immoral. That should not be. And I think we need to do something about it.
So let me ask Michael a question, because those numbers sound like they're big. They sound like they're bigger than the actual differential in state funding on a per pupil basis.
That's going to change, I hope.
Yeah.
So why is that true?
Well,
taxes and foundations.
There's partly some of the there's a quirk in the state law for about 4% of the districts where they own their own property tax. It's called basic aid.
Right, basic aid districts.
Yeah, and so they're exempted from the state system and have high expenditures. But the other, if you take Cupertino, I just spoke down there, they're in the state system. They have a gigantic foundation that parents contribute to, which is tax deductible. And then they have
Palo Alto has one too.
Palo Alto has one too.
Yeah, and then they have what's called a parcel tax, where under our crazy state laws, you can't tax property more on the value of the property, but as a loophole in the initiative, you can have I live in a garage and he lives in a mansion, and we both pay the same parcel tax of $150.
Seems fair to me.
Yeah, right. So we have parcel taxes. So there's wealthy communities are going to find a way to fund their schools, even if if there's a tax lid on them. Now, the legislature this year, under the governor's leadership, passed a new school funding law. It will be phased in over 7 years. The low-spending districts will go up by 30 to 40%, and it gives you supplemental payments for all students that are free lunch or low income. If your district has over 55% low income students, you get another huge bump in your funding. This is just starting. And it also pays for English learners who are not low income. Cupertino has a number of those. And then finally it pays for foster care children. So the past California school finance system was an accretion of historical nonsense, and it was essentially ended up very complex in a flat grant. So we have passed a Common Core curriculum, and we have passed a new school finance program. Oakland's a big winner. I expect salaries over time to go up in Oakland.
Next year?
Yeah, this year, next year. In the budget that starts in July 2014. And so we are working on this, and I think it'll get better. But you're not going to erase these backgrounds. But you have all these teachers going into Title I low-income schools, so why are they going there with an expensive Stanford education? Tell me why.
I asked that question myself.
I they
don't have to sign an oath in blood or anything, Rachel?
No, they just choose to go
there.
there.
Have some
They
support
choose to go
that a commitment to going into those schools requires.
So,
but I wanted to say something else, because when you think
feel,
about these...
They feel
committed.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I think that we have data for this. Our graduates have a very strong sense of self-efficacy. In a questionnaire, there are questions that actually document that. And the link between a sense of self-efficacy and actually being efficacious in what you do and then staying in the profession is quite well established. So there's a strong sense of, I'm well prepared, I know what I do, I can make a difference.
I would stick in here because I like the kind of things that you're thinking about, Michael, because I feel relatively new to education, and one of the things that I see is that inside each of us, there really are two parts, two faces almost. And one face is a face that is concerned about the public good and sees education as a part of the public good and as a mobility institution and all those kinds of things. So I have that face. But then when I think about my grandkids, I have a consumer's face.
Yeah.
And that consumer's face will almost do anything to get an educational advantage for that little guy, for whom I know needs every, that's deep. And so how do you control that? I mean, I think the consumer behavior in the education market is driving a lot of the inequalities that we don't like. And the more advantage I have in that market, the more I can actually drive inequalities that favor me, and I can set up not only favorable tax-based situations, but I can set up foundations which require people to give even more money and make my schools even better and get the salary. So you get that kind of and I think only the law and only government, really, this is where you need government as a way of kind of leveling these opportunities out more in society. And I think we need to bring into view that consumer side of us more, because I think that we talk about teachers as if they're supposed to be heroes, to just sacrifice themselves and go up against that and go to Oakland and live under the dangerous, challenging circumstances for the least amount of money and do that out of dedication when I think as citizens, we need to make that a much more attractive situation, a much more likely to succeed situation.
Yeah, the federal government isn't doing much. They only put up 8 cents on the dollar on education. So their money is, at the federal level, is going in the right places, like Oakland, but it's only 8 cents on the dollar. So it's a state and local issue, and in California, mostly a state issue because of the limits on our local property taxes.
Right.
Yeah.